5.1.9 Wide Social Environments and NGOs. This area regards the environment, which requires that interests of all people who may be affected by business practices are taken into account, transcending geographical limits and taking into consideration, especially the most disadvantaged areas, in order to contribute to an improvement of their situation. And at this point, we can say that responsible management is tied to pure idealism, accepting a generic commitment to human rights and values that guarantee dignified working and living conditions for the majority of human beings. Currently, we can find many companies that collaborate with international agencies and NGOs in defense of human rights. These collaborations are one of the main axes of their CSR policy. In addition, and through R&D, research, development, and innovation, companies increase their CSR levels, contributing to an improvement in the quality of life thanks to a growing number of eco-efficient products, creation of groups of excellence, clusters we might call it, and the improvement of the industrial fabric. Social media. The relationship of a company with social media is vitally important, since they have been decisive in the extension of CSR due to the critical relationships they have with the business world. The fact it makes the relationship and dialogue with the media transparency and ability to respond to complaints is one of the most important aspects in the management of corporate communications. To sum up, and in order to clarify this section, it is important to see it in a more summarized way, which are possible objectives of each management area in the achievement of the CSR policy in a company. For this, we have used the work of Immaculada Freya Opragan in her work Ethics, Economy, and Direction papers, shareholders, total return, creation of value, risk, flexibility, liquidity, control, and decision-making capacities, complete, accessible, and updated information. Direction, economic retribution, growth, promotion, career perspective, social assessment, psychological dimension, stability and security in employment, social benefits such as pension plan and insurance, and the effect of work in leisure, and such as working hours, breaks, and displacement, among others. Workers, economic retribution, promotion, training, safety and hygiene, stability and security of employment, social advantages such as pension plans and insurance, information and participation in the effective works in leisure time, and such as working hours, breaks, trips, and among others. Clients, the physical, technical benefits, economic benefits, commercial benefits, financial benefits, psychological benefits, and social benefits. Suppliers, supply, flexibility, value of money, and financial conditions. Public authorities, taxes, legislation, and regulations, and support for public policies. Environment, socio-economic environment, environmental effects, ethics, respect for culture, contribution to science, technological development, and support for the disadvantaged groups. Competition, respect for free competition, alliance, or collaboration agreements, such as sectoral advertising, joint purchases, and sectoral trade groupings, ethical behavior, and complementarity. Supplies of complementary services, alliances, or collaboration agreements for joint promotion. Now we come to the strategic level in CSR management. When implementing and managing CSR policies, we must take into account a series of factors that will help us better define what kind of strategy we should follow. Strategic management. The strategic management is based on the process of effective management and control of the determining factors of competitiveness and its relationship with stakeholders in order to achieve a set of objectives. The strategic analysis is the procedure of control and permanent study that allows a company or organization to know at all times the situation it is in and their perspective on these factors. Thus, the design of the business strategy corresponds to that direction. This process consists of several stages, which will depend on the circumstance of the company, the sector, and its location. However, and at the general level, there are two key aspects of the companies cannot ignore: mission and vision. For the management, it must be clear what type of company or organization it is and what kind of company it wants to be. Once this is clear, a whole series of objectives and final goals will be set. These objectives will help us to define the actions we are going to carry out. Values. Through the implementation of ethical codes, a company will publicize both internally and externally what their values are. By doing so, it will obtain the following benefits. Internal benefits: greater motivation of employees and workers is achieved depending on the power's limits, determining the power limits of management, which translates into the long run into greater profitability. External benefits: improvement of the corporate image, increased confidence in the part of the investors, and the possibility for a company to offer a more sensitive aspect. Dimensions: a company whose business strategy is based on CSR management needs to implementation of a new model of business externalities that will revolve around the management of economic, social, and environmental aspects. This new way of acting will be governed by the implementation of ethical and social responsible criteria, and according to the Green Paper of the European Commission, it can be done through two dimensions: internal and external. Internal dimension. The first dimension refers to the aspects of the social sphere and to the practices that respect the environment. In the social field, good management of human resources is considered a socially responsible practice, and it can be achieved by non-discriminatory hiring people belonging to ethnic minorities and disadvantaged groups such as those over 45, women, long-term unemployed, and people with restricted abilities. The practice will imply an increase in the productive capacity of the country and the social cohesion, as well as the reduction in public spending on the provision of social services and subsidies for unemployment. Permanent learning. This will allow a company to obtain a greater knowledge of the training needs provided by the education and training programs offered by local, regional, and trade union administrations. It will also facilitate the inclusion of students in the labor market through internship programs and encourage the continuous training of workers. Safety and health in the workplace. A company must strictly comply with the law and exhaustively monitor the history of work-related illnesses and accidents in order to put forward active policies, in addition to undergoing external control audits so as to reduce and improve conditions. Business adjustments. It is the ability of the company to adapt to changes, business crises, and restructuring. Thus, every company must have a strategy that facilitates training and information so that different interest groups can adapt correctly to these changes. Regarding environmentally friendly practices, we often talk about the management and resources used in production, such as the reduction of consumption of resources or waste and their polluting dimension, as well as the integrated policy of products. In this way, and with the implementation of policies that respect the environment, a company must take into account the following factor: the reduction of consumption of materials and energy, the decrease in toxicity associated with products and services, the increase in the use of recycled materials, promotion of sustainable use of renewable resources, favoring the durability of objects. Now, the external dimension. The second dimension refers to the relationship of the company with their external partners and their social and environmental environments, such as the community, public interlocutors, foundations, NGOs, etc. And in this management area, the work consists of specifying the involvement of the company in social, cultural, and sporting actions, that is to say, in aspects that are not directly related to the exercise of business activity. The benefits of the social action, defined by Jordi Moros Ribera as the set of non-profit actions of the company whose mission is to contribute to the improvement in the quality of life of the community where it operates through social, economic, educational, cultural, or environmental projects. And they are improvement of the brand image, notoriety, increase the image of sensitivity, the expanding market. It is related to the public sector and the organized civil society. Methodology, CSR scorecard. Well, once we have determined what we want to do and the actions we are going to perform in order to achieve our goals, it is of utmost importance that we periodically carry out follow-up that allows us to monitor our situation. Scorecard will be handed in. In this situation, a scorecard is a management tool by means of which different aspects of the sustainability are analyzed. In this way, it transmits the progress achieved in a coherent manner. It is a document that will constantly be updated so that it reflects the progress of the company as well as the evolution of its actions and objectives. Traditionally, the document mainly included information of a financial nature due to the initial conception that the benefits of a company has to be only economic. However, and with the passage of time, as we have seen in the initial chapters, the concern for social and environmental issues has increased considerably. This has led to rethinking the ways of managing a company, including a whole series of areas that will grant us an intangible benefit, such as the brand image, that over time will become economic benefit. Therefore, it is essential that this document also include other elements and interests beside economic ones, such as competitors, customers, suppliers, government codes, and environmental standards that certify the long-term profitability of a company and therefore its permanence in the market. Now we come to verification, sustainability reporting. As we have already mentioned, sustainability reports are documents that include verification, disclosure, and accountability to stakeholders, whether internal or external, and are related to the organization in terms of sustainable development. Let us recall here what the benefits of developing them are. The information and measurement of the development of an organization constitutes an essential management tool. The information is essential when establishing, maintaining, and forming a commitment to interested parties. Preparation of these reports can be useful to publicize the economic, social, and environmental opportunities and challenges of companies and organizations. It is much more reliable than simply responding to the information needed requested by interested parties. Transparency in the open dialogue on actions, priorities, and future sustainability plans help strengthen relationships with the public and inspire trust. Preparation of sustainability reports is a means to achieve an interrelation between the usually isolated and different functions of the organization. The identification of weaknesses in supply chain and communities among regulatory bodies, as well as the reputation and management of the commercial brand, is one of the most important advantages of preparation of these reports. They help with the creation of qualities in the management of the company in terms of evaluating the contribution of the organization to natural, human, and social capital, offering a broader vision that goes beyond the economic interests. They also serve to highlight the contributions that a company make in social and ecological matters and the sustainability proposals of the product and services. And they allow us to reduce the instability and uncertainty of the stock price of a company, since the availability of a specific and periodic information helps to create a greater financial stability. Regarding the principles at the time of writing these reports, we will take into account the following: transparency and globality. They are starting point for the creation of the report, and they indicate that on the one hand, all information that a company offers in these reports must be transparent, reliable, and verifiable. Then on the other hand, it must address to all public, internal, and external that participates and is affected by the business activity. Sustainability, comprehensiveness, and relevance. These principles are fundamental when deciding on the content of the report. With regard to sustainability, we must point out that the actions of the organization must be placed in the broader context of this principle. They must include exhaustive information as well as the scope and situation in a specific time frame, and must be relevant from the point of view of the public interest. Neutrality, comparability, and precision. These principles will delimit the quality and authenticity of the content of the reports. It is important that said content is objective and balanced, as well as composed of accurate and truthful information. It is advisable to take into account the past reports when writing these reports, and consult reports prepared by other companies and organizations in the same sector. Quality and periodicity. We must include quality information, taking into account the interests of our internal and external audiences. In addition, these reports must be prepared periodically in order to be able to compare the actions and results throughout the history of the company. This will help us when designing future actions and action plans in socially responsible matters. Auditability. This last principle is closely associated with the principle of comparison, precision, neutrality, and completeness. The main objective of the principle is auditability, in that both practice of preparing the reports as well as the information they contain comply with the objectives, quality standards, and the truthfulness that is requested. Linked to the last principle, it is important to introduce and talk about the term assurance. According to the Cambridge Dictionary, assurance is a promise to tell something to someone confidently and firmly, or a promise to cause someone to feel certain by removing doubt. During the verification process of sustainability, we must ask ourselves the following question: is the information provided concrete and complete? Are the means used for data collection and management systems firm? Is the level of information presented sufficient? What are the consequences for the organization? What level of compliance has been achieved by the interest groups and regarding the information standards? In addition, and during the hearing and assurance process, we must exhaustively analyze the following levels. Social levels: it must be audited if humans and labor rights are met. Environmental level: aspects such as the control of toxic emissions, the level of efficiency of the energy resource, and the establishment of environmental management systems, among others, will be audited. Economic level: all aspects of the economic benefit of the company to the economic benefit of the company organization, such as financial performance or the multiplier effect of business economic activities, will be studied.